Hey, Lightning fans, Caley Chelios for this week's edition of Catching Up with Caley. We're excited to be joined with Brian Boucher. Brian, from inside the bubble, you got a fair warm-up right now with all these pre-qualification and exhibition games. How's it going for you in the bubble and the intensity level?
Yeah, it's been fun. I've said that this feels like the greatest youth hockey tournament ever. You get all these teams in one spot, and it's pretty neat to see all the guys interact, off the ice. But at the same time, I feel so fortunate to be inside here. I know there's a lot of people that would love to be here and can't be, and the fact that I'm here able to do the games, although it's a unique situation, it's still a lot of fun. And I've been impressed with the play so far. I think the round robin games, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think the intensity was a little different than the qualifying round games. I think obviously when you got a series on the line, the urgency level goes up and the compete level goes up. And I think the idea for the round robin teams is they had other things to take care of. They wanted to make sure they were healthy, make sure they got their games in order. So that, typically lends to, maybe not as intense a game. But it'll start for real on Tuesday, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I've been impressed with the professionalism, guys, considering the circumstances. I think it's been good so far.
And in terms of that intensity, Game 4, Columbus-Toronto, that had all the action, but it seemed like Sunday Columbus did a great job at just closing out that game, eliminating Toronto. And now for the Lightning, it's a rematch of the first round of playoffs last season. If you're a fan, this is the rematch you want, and I'm guessing too, Brian, if you're a player, is this the rematch you really want, as opposed to maybe a Toronto team that might have fared a little bit not easier, but maybe in terms of matchups, a better team for them to face off against?
Yeah, I think if you're a player, you want to slay the dragon, right? I think it's fresh in your mind what happened last year, and even if you're new to the Tampa Bay Lightning and you weren't here for that situation last year, you understand what took place and you want to rectify it, right? And I think there's no better feeling than going at the team that took you down and taking care of business that way right away. So I agree with you. I think Toronto would have been a much better matchup. I don't think their back end is solid, like Columbus's is, and I think that would have been a better matchup for Tampa Bay. But look, I mean, they're going to have to find a way. I mean, they're going to if Columbus is for real and they would advance, you'd face them at some point, right? So you may as well face them right away while you're fresh. It'll make for some good drama, I think, because Tampa certainly has a lot to prove here.
And these two teams coming into this year's matchup, obviously it's different circumstances for everyone, but last season the Lightning go on this historic 62-win season, and it's an early exit for them. This time, how do you see that this Lightning team, watching them through the regular season and through the round robin, how are they an improved team or a more poised team to, have success against Columbus round 2?
Yeah, I like some of the additions that they brought in. When you think about character and intangibles in the playoffs, you have to have them. And I think Columbus, epitomizes all of that. But, the additions of guys like Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman, those two guys that come to mind, I think bring another element in the bottom six for this Lightning team. We know they got a ton of skill, and, everybody loves to talk about skill in the regular season and how exciting it is to watch. But the reality is in the playoffs is, sometimes it's about, the intangibles. Not sometimes, mostly it's about intangibles and whether or not you're going to find a way to win a puck battle, to block a shot, to get a puck out. These are the things that are important. And I think it may have been something that wasn't there last year for Tampa Bay, but this year I think they addressed those needs, and I think they're better set up with regards to that. Now the question is, some of the injuries that Tampa has, will those injuries prove to be fatal? We'll find out. But I certainly think that this team has a little more bite, has a little more snarl, and I think they understand what's at stake. And because of that, I think they're better set up as a team to handle Columbus.
Yeah, on the injury front, that's pretty terrible luck, a really unfortunate outcome for the Lightning in that game against the Flyers. Without Victor Hedman, though, that's a huge piece of their decor. He really drives the bus for them, even offensively on the power play. Who do you see from Tampa having to maybe step up and be a real role player or take on more of the load if he's unable to play in this series and moving forward?
Well, I think Ryan McDonough is the guy that stands out to me. I think he's played a lot of hard miles in his game over the years, and he had to deal with some injuries. He seems healthy right now to me, which makes his addition to this Lightning defense even more important. But you can't sugarcoat it. You're right. The loss of Hedman is huge, and Columbus comes with a forecheck that's hard. They come in waves. They check, with an intensity that it just seems to not stop, and that's all from their coach, right? And Tampa's defense is going to be under pressure, and they're going to have to find ways to get pucks to their forwards, which is the strength of their team, and make sure that those guys can do their thing. But if they don't execute under pressure, and the Columbus forecheck takes over, I think it's going to be a long series for Tampa, and they're going to have a tough time getting those pucks into their game breakers up front. Because I think that's the problem that Toronto had. I think their defense, it's a weakness of their team, and they buckled under pressure, and I think that was a problem. They tried to load up a top line in Game 5, which is great, but it left a lot of holes elsewhere. But when I look at this Tampa team, if they can find a way to break out and their defense, led by McDonough, I think they have a chance. Not a chance. They have a very good chance, is what I'm saying. Certainly their power plays. It's hard to judge their power plays. They only had 5 opportunities in the round robin, and Victor Hedman's a big part of it. So it's not like I can say that their power play is really clicking, but their power play is going to be key as well. If they can find a way to convert on their opportunities, because Columbus doesn't give you a lot, and when you get those opportunities, you have to cash in. Whether it's an odd man break, doing it that way, or doing it on the power play, that can set Columbus back on their heels, and that's something that Toronto wasn't able to do.
And we'll likely see a lot more of Mikhail Sergachev stepping up on that top power play unit if Hedman's unable to play. But in addition to McDonough, who you mentioned, and some of the trade deadline acquisitions, Goodrow, Coleman, was there anyone else during the round robin play that stood out to you or caught your eye?
I thought guys played okay. I thought Point, Kucherov, Palat, they were okay. They didn't set the world on fire for me. But I thought the third line, what stood out to me that I saw was that there was just a different element to their team in the bottom 6. That to me is what I caught my eye. But when I think about the round robin games, there were a lot of teams that underperformed in that round robin play that didn't bring it the way I expected them to bring it. But it's understandable. But when I see Kucherov and I see Point and these guys, I have full confidence that when the puck drops on Tuesday, or if they play Wednesday, I can't remember when they're starting, that they'll be ready. I saw enough to know that they'll be fine. But the thing that just stands out for me with this Tampa team is that it's not all about skill right now. And I think Vasilevsky looked good, so that's a good sign. I thought he was strong in his games, and I don't see any question marks there. And look, I think Columbus realizes that they were able to take them down last year, but that it's going to be a different challenge this year, just because I don't think that this is a team that's all about skill. It'll be interesting to see the status of Hedman. If he can somehow play in this series, it changes a lot for me. But it's going to take a workmanlike approach from this Tampa team, something that maybe they weren't prepared to do, but certainly something that John Cooper is going to have to get his team to embrace, because they're going to have a workmanlike opponent in Columbus.
And Vasilevsky, you mentioned his name, obviously going to be one of the players who really has to step up and be their best players without Victor Hedman in the lineup. You said you like what you've seen from him so far in the round robin. What do you think about this goaltending matchup, and who Tortorella is going to go with after Korpisalo gets the shutout against Toronto?
Yeah, I think Tortorella has confidence in both his guys, in Merzlikins and Korpisalo. He said it repeatedly, and he proved it by playing both. But Merzlikins, I don't know his health status. Obviously, he wasn't available for Game 5, but Korpisalo was fantastic. The one thing about Columbus that they do, though, is they really do a good job of, protecting the house in front, and they don't give a lot of second and third opportunities. And that's going to be the key to find a way to get inside and get to him. That's why I say, if you have a chance to execute and bury your chances on 2-on-1s or power plays, you better do it, because I think then you start to get a different looking Columbus team. As far as Vasilevsky is concerned, he's a world-class goaltender, and sometimes it can be difficult. Like last year when I think about it, Bobrovsky standing on his head and he made that save when it was 3-0 in game one, and that seemed to turn the tides. But sometimes it's difficult. You see the guy down at the other end, have a lot of zone time, and you're not able to score, and then all of a sudden it's one break and you give one up, and there's a lot of pressure in those situations on the goaltender that is expected to win. So that's something that you have to fight as a goaltender, that you just have to worry about the next shot. And I think for Vasilevsky, I think the fact that his team may be lacking with no Hedman, potentially no Stamkos, it looks like they may have a more workmanlike approach, and I think that's going to go a long way in helping this club. But I have no question that Vasilevsky is, he's a third year in a row up for the Vezina. He's won it before. This guy is a world-class goaltender.
Yeah, he is the guy for the Lightning. Well, Brian, great insight as always. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any other plans for your off day in the bubble?
I'm going to try and get my hair trimmed a little bit, take care of some laundry, and that's about it. And just try to decompress and get ready for the next round.
Yeah, sounds good. You definitely got your warm-up in to be ready for the first round. So good luck, and have a great call on Tuesday.
All right. Thanks, Caley.
Thanks, Brian.